Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, how to use Microsoft PowerPoint within ProPresenter. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I help you learn all about ProPresenter. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. And before we get started, you should join the 10,000 plus other people that have subscribed to this channel. And go ahead, and give it a thumbs up, all that fun jazz. So, for reasons that escape me personally, but maybe that's because I just love ProPresenter so much, there are a lot of pastors that make their sermon notes in PowerPoint. Now, this is one of those situations where they're trying to be helpful, but they're actually adding more work than absolutely necessary. I still think the best solution is to create a text document with all the sermon points, a folder with all the images, and any videos that you want in that same folder, and just add them in. Just a couple of minutes, you'd be totally done, and you'd have a ProPresenter editable presentation. Nice and easy, whether you're on Mac or Windows, it's just a better way to do it. With that said, I haven't been able to persuade everyone, and some people just really like using it, so I thought that I would show you how to use PowerPoint. I went out and I bought a copy just for this tutorial, so let's head over to my computer and take a look. So here we are in ProPresenter, and you might notice PowerPoint right here. So this is a sample PowerPoint I made, how to add PowerPoint into Pro7 in case you can't talk your pastor out of looking like Bill Gates announcing Windows 95. It's just a little joke. I know it came across as snarky, but I am a Gen Xer, and that's our native language. So I've created that. So let me show you a couple of ways to do this. If you're on macOS like I am, you have a couple more options. I know I've heard people say that Windows should have those options. I'm not the programmer. I'm just Renewed Vision's biggest fan, so I can't speak to that. But let's head over to here in ProPresenter, and let's import this particular this PowerPoint presentation. See, I'm even used to saying ProPresenter instead of PowerPoint. So File, Import, PowerPoint. Now, from here, you have a couple of options in the Mac version that you don't have in the Windows version. They've changed how this works, so I didn't initially see this, and in fact, I gave some bad information a couple of times because it wasn't where I expected it to be. So, let's find the PowerPoint presentation. So I know it's called test dot. There it is. Oh, that's not it. I had it there for just a second. Okay, there it is. Right there. So let's click on that. What I could do is I could go into options and, well, let me start with how you can do it on Mac or Windows. So on Mac or Windows, if you click that and select import, then it will ask you what library you want to put it into. I'm just going to leave it here. I've already imported this a few times, so it's going to pop up, hey, do you want to replace? Just ignore that part of the thing here. Okay, notice it opens up PowerPoint. It does it. So you do need a current version of PowerPoint on the same machine for this to work. Now you'll notice that while over here I have a background, I don't have that background here. Don't have that background here. So how do I deal with that? So There we go. So in this case, what it has done is, because I've got the alternate theme showing here, let's go here. Yep, that'll show me the way it looks like. So I actually still had the option for importing it as text and media. So let's actually go back into File, Import, PowerPoint. And I'm going to change the option here. Okay, so this is the way that I had this set up. If it was set up like this, this is how it will import into either Mac or Windows. Sorry about that. So there we are. And now I should be able to click Import, choose my library again. It opens this, and then I get just JPEGs. So if I were to find a typo here, right click, if I click Edit Slide, we'll see that the only thing here is a JPEG, so I cannot edit this. So on Windows and Mac, if you do it the way that it's obvious here in Mac, or you do it this way in Windows, then you're stuck, which is one reason why I don't like the pastor using PowerPoint, because you're stuck if you do it this way. Now, another thing that you can do in lieu of doing that is on the Mac version, you had, as you saw just a minute ago, we can go to File, Import, PowerPoint, and now I can click on Options, and notice that I have 3 different options. So I have the default one where it just makes it as images. I have Import Text Objects as ProPresenter Slide Elements, and so that just brings in the text. So if you don't have any other media, that's perfectly fine. But this is kind of the catch-all. It imports both text and graphics objects as slide elements. So let me go here, and we'll once again do a search for that. Here it is, and import, once again, opens up this other instance of PowerPoint because it has to use PowerPoint. And now, if we go back into Show, then this is what I've got, which is text, so I can right-click on it, and notice I can edit any of these things, so that's good. I had a video right here, so if we go on this video, this is one of the counterintuitive things. I right-click on it, go to Edit Slide. Notice that it says it's .mp4, right? But if we go over here to what this fill is, it's actually a PNG file. So I don't know why that's the case, but that is the case. So what we need to do is we need to find the original and replace it. So there's still some work to do if you've got a video file. This is a still. It will be a still. You just need to go and find that, so maybe you'd go into Media, big plus button, Media, and navigate to it. That's one way to do it. That's going to put it on the slides layer, which is less than ideal. Instead, what I would do is I would import it here down in the media layer. I've already got that set up here in one of these playlists. Yeah, here it is. So if it was me, what I would do is I would create a new slide, put it next to where the other slide is. Having brought in this video, I would make sure that it was a foreground video, because PowerPoint doesn't do motion backgrounds really well. So it's probably going to be a foreground video that you want. And then I would drag it up here, and it should act as we expect. So I'd right click and I would delete that. And now we're good to go, except for one thing. The background isn't showing up here because it, for whatever reason, ignores the background. So one thing that you could do is import it a second time, and then right click, edit slide here. See, I created this that was just a blank slide in PowerPoint, and when that brought it up, then this enables me to, from this shape menu, click on this magnifying glass, and it will open up the inspector showing exactly where that is. So I'm going to move that over to the side here, and I'm going to go back into show mode. Okay, and then I'm going to drag this from here on top of this slide. Now notice, little subtle thing here, anytime the icon has a solid square or slightly rectangular, a solid rectangle here, and then what looks like a little drawing under that, that means this is a background. And backgrounds are persistent until they're replaced or removed. So I can click on the first one, and then I can click on any subsequent ones, and that should carry over. For some reason it didn't. So you could absolutely just, since this is a still background, there's no reason why you couldn't add that on all of the slides that you wanted it to be on, right? So for some reason that's not showing up. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I probably had some sort of action hiding somewhere that changed the look or something. But yeah, so let's go here into looks just to see if you have a situation like this. Yep, media was unchecked. Sorry about that. So now this should act as we expect it to act. Yep. And see, so the background is persistent right here. So that's good. And one thing, since this is a foreground video, this will replace this. So that's why it's very important that you have that there. So we have this here, and then we're playing the video because it's a foreground. It acts like we would expect it to act. And then we have the next background coming up. So that does most of the stuff that most people would want to do inside of PowerPoint. It doesn't include animations. So if my pastor needed animations, I think what I would do is I would right-click, go into Edit Slide, and add them back in. So, some text here by doing a build. So, add a build, etc. I've got another tutorial on builds. They're not one for one, so keep that in mind. And also try and persuade your pastor that these sorts of animations should be used sparingly, because they tend to distract more than they help. So something else to keep in mind. But that's how I would do animations. So that helps those of you who are Mac users, but what if you're a Windows user? How can you get the text and the other elements into PowerPoint instead of just screenshots? Well, if we go back over here to PowerPoint, I'm going to turn off that one here. And so I can also in PowerPoint go File, Export. I also almost did the wrong thing there. And I've got some choices here. I don't want to use PDF. Instead, what I want to do is I want to export it once as rich text format. And when I do that, notice I've got PowerPoint text.rtf. I've already done this. So let me go ahead. I'm going to actually export it as is because I've made some changes. And I'm going to replace that. And now if I go into File, Import, File, and let's do a test ppt.rtf, that's it. And notice that now I have all the capabilities that I would have if I'd just gotten the text from somewhere else. So I could format it as I would want to with whatever theme I want to, etc. So that would get my text into ProPresenter. But what if I had images? Well, I could just bring in the whole thing and combine those. That's fine. So I could, again, File, Import, PowerPoint, and combine the images from the import here and the text from the other import. That would work. Or I could also File, Export, and export this not as a PDF, but I could export it as a PNG or a JPEG. JPEGs tend to be a good all-around file format. PNGs tend to be a little bit bigger, but they can also include transparency. So that might help you just a little bit. So you could export them from PowerPoint and bring them in. And then the other thing is, what if you wanted to grab the video? Well, let's see if we can't figure out where this video is located. So there that is. Let me right click and I could save media as. So that would work. In fact, let me do just that. So I could save that to wherever it is so that I, if it's embedded within the PowerPoint that you got from your pastor, then you're kind of out of luck unless you do this. So, I could absolutely save that here in my movies folder just so that I remember where that is. And so when I go to a window, Windows Explorer, whatever, then I could find that particular video wherever I'd saved it and then bring it in that way. So, and since I've brought it in a couple of times, it's asking me if I want to write over. Let's make a new version, and notice that by dragging it by itself, it's a foreground once again. So it's kind of a convoluted process. Again, it's better if you could just get the text and the media separately and then deal with them all in ProPresenter. But for whatever reason, some people just don't like to do that. Perfectly fine, but that's a couple of ways how to do it. So, if you like this content, you'd probably like my ProPresenter 7 Quick Start course, which I have over at TDM.fyi/Pro7quick. Just put in your name and email address and I'll make a login for you automatically. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.